Today, we'll talk briefly about can your landlord say no when you're trying to have your emotional support animal live with you. And Maisie had a busy weekend, so we have Craft Maisie staying with us right now for this interview while she sleeps and takes her nap. But landlords do say no, and most of the time they shouldn't be. And what we do here is we educate your landlord. When you have a legitimate need for an emotional support animal, and we're talking about you have a mental disability, a mental diagnosis of something that a professional is treating you for and has recommended that you have an emotional support animal. When you have that situation that's credible, that I can verify, I'm going to get behind that. And you can even ask a landlord retroactively. We just had a case where my clients just moved in to a pretty beautiful place in Seaport, Boston. And immediately they were told their lease was terminated and they had to move out the next day because they had a dog. And they had said, well, this was our emotional support animal. And the landlord said, but I asked you if you had a pet on the application and you lied. You said you didn't. They didn't lie. They don't have a pet. They have an emotional support animal. And we went from her kicking them out to her emailing me saying, wow, I understand now. Thank you. I was wrong in jumping to conclusions. They didn't lie. And now I understand the process, because there's a right way to ask for a reasonable accommodation. And we've had great success at this because we pick the right clients, and it's just a compelling issue when you really need your pet with you. And we're willing to take those on. And at the same time, you're really explaining to that landlord something that they'll probably won't do again, in terms of making the mistake of how they treat people with a mental disability who, if they're prescribed a particular dog or particular pet, should be able to keep that pet with them at the residence so they can enjoy life to the same level that people who don't have a mental disability or a diagnosis can. And that's why it exists for them, so people with these problems can enjoy their residence the same as everybody else. An emotional support animal is not supposed to be able to go to school with you or go to the library or to restaurants with you. But if you do it right and show that you're respecting the process and not just bringing a dog in without asking, we can get it done for you.